Weencast, a Ween podcast with Shane and Rory. Hey, what's up? This is Shane.
And this is Rory.
And this is Weencast. And we welcome you to a new episode. What's up, everybody?
Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. The holidays are upon us. It's 2024, and it's going to be Thanksgiving this week. So if you're listening to this and it's still Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday, hope you had a great Thanksgiving and hope you made it through and everything else and all that. Maybe you're listening to this on Thanksgiving Day and you're right in the middle of some shit with your family. So good luck to you.
Yeah, instead of arguing over turkey, just put the earbuds in and then listen to this podcast and just nod a lot.
Yeah, you don't need to pay attention.
And then you'll get your dose of Ween. And then you should listen to the show that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So present day is 2024, and we are going back 20 years plus a few months. And we are going to talk about the first show that we attended and the first show of 2004.
Drum roll.
So this is April 28th, 2004 at the Fraternal Order of Eagles Hall in, well, Levittown, PA. Rory?
Yes.
So I was able to attend this show. I think Rory, you might have been up at State College at the time.
Yeah, this was not. Did we check to see what day of the week this was?
I think it's a
But
Wednesday.
Yeah, I was back in college at that time, so I would have been too busy to come down on a Wednesday.
Right. So I know that myself, Hannah, K-Dog, our friend K-Dog.
I was going to say, you better say K-Dog.
Yeah. So basically everybody I think that we've talked about at least once or twice on the show before from our friends. So Hannah, K-Dog, my brother Craig, and myself. Now, I cannot say how we found out about this show and like how far in advance we learned about the show. That's the kind of piece that is missing for me. But I will say that I do have a ticket stub of it.
That's cool.
So I'll make sure to get some pictures out there of my ticket stub. But the other thing that's kind of interesting, and I sent a picture of the stub to Rory. But when you look at Brown Base and you look at like, you know, Internet Archive and everything where, you know, you can listen to the show and YouTube, it says Levittown, but the actual ticket says Fairless Hills, PA.
Interesting.
So now, Rory, you lived in Philadelphia, so you tell the people about it.
Well, Levittown is a little town right out. It's Bucks County. It's like Lower Bucks County, right outside of Northeast Philly.
Okay.
And Fairless Hills is basically like right next to Levittown. And it's so sometimes people just say Levittown, and that's sort of that area. I always, whenever the town of Levittown is mentioned, I always break into like a little Billy Joel, living here in Levittown, you know?
Ooh. I wouldn't have thought that, but it totally fits.
For some reason.
It may even work better than actual Allentown. Yeah.
But yeah, I checked the address actually, and it's not in like Levittown proper.
Okay.
So
we're on to a bit of a conspiracy here, if I dare say. Busted.
I did a little research on the Fraternal Order of Eagles. I encourage people to like check out Wikipedia to learn more. But basically, it was just a bunch of like theater owner dudes who were like, we all believe in God and we want to do good deeds. And they just like spread the word. And they have rituals.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
They have like secret rituals.
That's awesome.
And basically, they just like raise money for charities. And dude, would it surprise you to know that we could buy the location right now? It is for sale.
Oh man, tempting.
It's about $750,000, and apparently there's a church in the building too. But if anyone wants to purchase the Fraternal Order of Eagles, it's there, man.
Interesting.
Right there in Levittown.
Very interesting. You know, I have to say I don't really remember that much about the trip. You know, I think.
How did you hear about the show?
See, that's the thing. It must have just been maybe like a couple of weeks that it was announced.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I have a ticket stub, so I know I must have like ordered tickets, and the tickets have the Music Today logo on them. So it's not like a Ticketmaster ticket. It's Music Today, which I think that they used at that time period. So it must have been at least like a week or two ahead of time that it was announced and that they sold tickets for it, because I don't think there was anything as far as like tickets at the door, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, you just have to show up. And because from my memory, it was just like we got there and just like walked right in. There was no like big line or anything like that. There are other people that are on the ticket stub. And before we get too far into it, I should say that this was a fundraiser as well.
Yes, which makes a lot of sense.
Right. So this was a fundraiser for what I'm assuming would have been like the local chapter of American Cancer Society, a Relay for Life. And there was a couple of other names that are listed actually on the tickets, which is Danny Rio featuring Mikey Jr. and the Stone Cold Blues. So it's like those guys must have went on before Ween. Unfortunately, there was nobody on when we got there. So I don't know if we just missed that whole set or if maybe that just didn't wind up happening at all. I don't know. But
interesting.
They were on the tickets.
What time did you arrive? It says the show starts at 7. I wonder if there was no evidence of an opener.
It was
maybe they were playing afterward.
It was still, well, that's possible, but you know, that's a little much for a weeknight, I would imagine.
Yeah, true that. Yeah.
But I remember getting there and it still being daylight out. So, and you know, this is April, not exactly middle of summer or, you know, dark at 4:30 or anything like that, but maybe right in the middle.
Yeah, so you got that. That.
So, you know, I'm not sure about the other band, if they just went on like really early and then there was a nice long break, but I kind of remember going in and hanging out and everything. And two things. First thing is there was cheap t-shirts. I want to say that the shirts were only like $10. And I have pictures of my shirt. And basically it just is like a tan shirt with black letters that says Ween, and it has the Boognish on the front. And then on the back has the whole thing of that night. It doesn't have the date, but it says American Cancer Society Relay for Life. And then just like I said, Danny Rio featuring Mikey Jr. and Stone Cold Blues. So that was on the back of the shirt. So It's like a shirt specifically for that night. And I want to say they were only like $10, right? And I checked in with Fred on this one, all right? Because I remembered that there was like a crazy deal on, I don't know about the food, but I think there might have been like two options that you could get, like food and beer for like $20, or Fred confirmed this for me, all you could drink beer, $10 for the whole night.
Was Fred in the house that night?
Fred was definitely in the house that night, yes.
Nice.
So, so he basically confirms that was just like a horrible idea and like a crazy shit show that, you know, it was well-intended because
goodness.
They're trying to raise money, right? But I don't think they anticipated, you know, the Ween crowd and just like how, you know, you get these people together and, you know, it's going to get out of control.
Yeah.
You know, debauchery is sure to ensue. You know what I mean?
It's cool though. I mean, they did it for charity. That's really cool.
Right, exactly. Like I said, well intended. And then also, they must have had a raffle. So like a 50-50, and we'll get to that in a little bit too. I don't remember like being offered like, hey, you want raffle tickets? But I definitely was like, oh, I got to get one of those shirts. So I know that Hannah and I each got a shirt. I don't think Craig or K-Dog got shirts. And honestly, I don't think any of us went for the all-you-can-drink beer, to be honest with you. As tempting as it sounds, from my memory, I don't. Maybe my brother. And the funny thing is, it sounds like such an amazing deal in this day and age, but beers at the time, especially just like a place like this, were probably only like $2 or something. So it was.
What was it? $10?
I think it was. Fred said it was $10 all you could drink from just like a keg of beer and like tap it yourself.
Well, that's the Eagles way, man. That's what they would do. Those the theater owners, they would conduct business and then afterward they would tap a keg.
Yeah, man.
Like that's the tradition.
Stonecutter shit. Like
just about.
Yeah.
Where's Nicolas Cage when you need him? To code some puzzles.
Well, and I think that kind of brings us up to the show. But before we do that, do you want to read the set list?
Sure, my man.
Do it.
All right. We got pork roll, egg and cheese, spinal meningitis, happy colored marbles, take me away, the Grove, transdermal celebration, even if you don't, voodoo lady, albino sunburn girl, bananas and blow, the HIV song, Buckingham Green, Captain, baby bitch, stroker ace, Reggaejunkiejew, Dr. Rock, touch my tutor, I can't put my finger on it, Zoloft, marble tulip juicy tree, roses are free, tender situation, the Blarney stone, the mollusk, piss up a rope, freedom of 76, you fucked up.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. And I think it clocked in at like 2 hours and 15 about.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the longest show. Yeah, before I forget, I want to give a shout out to the Stallion Mang, who has a really sweet YouTube video of this.
Yeah, and deedly doodly.
I can't remember if I had a copy of this, but if I did, I don't remember ever watching it. But there was a shout out on the YouTube video of Bobby Bourbon shot half-hour footage from the edge / front of the stage with a Sony TRY-27 mini DV camera. He also recorded the excellent audio. It's pretty neat because it's, it's still like bootleg footage, but they have it sort of like synced together, like two different camera shots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a lower fidelity, like live concert, like similar to Live in Chicago, only not as well made.
It's great because it's like a really great, like rigged attempt for 2004.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like it's a cool little piece from that time period. Yeah. And I have to say, this is a better show than I remembered. And I think that's probably because like I wasn't listening to the bootlegs as much. I think I mentioned this on a couple of our shows from 2003. I wasn't really listening to the bootlegs like I was in like 99, 2000. I mean, those shows I pretty much know like in and out. By the time that these shows came around, like I know I still have like CDRs of the audio, but I probably only listened to the whole thing like once. You know what I mean? But this is great. This is a good show. I mean, there's not as many like rarities.
It's a lot of like standards.
Yeah, there's a lot of standards, but I have to say, for taking a little bit of a break in the time period, like they're pretty on point. And I'm sure we'll bring this up before we like wrap things up, but being that this is the first show of 2004, and this is obviously like a very small venue. I mean, this place probably held not even 1,000 people. I mean, we're talking a few hundred people. You know what I mean? I'd say maximum probably like 600-700, but more like.
It's actually more than I was thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably more like between 300 and 500. If I, like that would be pushing it. But that was something I think the band did a lot back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, is they would have like a warm-up show for either like the beginning of the year or like the beginning of a tour. It would be like a smaller venue, and maybe they wouldn't get too deep in the weeds as far as like weird shit or like, but just something to like get the juices flowing. So if you look at Brown Bass, the last show that was played was the end of 2003, and that would have been what, 12, 15 probably, because some of these songs were played at this next show. So they took a nice little break, basically the whole beginning of 2004 until this show is played. Okay, yeah, totally. So this is definitely like a warm-up. And then if you look at the other shows for 2004, there isn't really a whole lot that happens, but this is the beginning of like a little like weekend run, more or less.
A charity event that they sort of, and it just sort of fit in where it was like, oh, cool, we could do this show to like warm ourselves up and like do this at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's like, it's also, a good cause, for a good cause, a nice, neat little venue where, you wouldn't get a band of this size normally. Now, we don't know exactly how, how the thing was put together, but we'll get to that sort of towards the end. But I think it's definitely fits in with the time period, and something, unfortunately, you don't see too much anymore just because the band has gotten so big, especially since the reunion. You don't really get those like warm-up shows. This is just a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally, man. No, it's what I really enjoyed about it is even the standards, there's like an energy and it's an amazing performance. Like they're really like rocking these tunes out.
Yeah,
like
I think
these guys at the Fraternal Order of Eagles,
Mm-hmm.
They came to rock.
Yeah, and since there's such a good quality video, like you can tell that like they all look good. Junior looks good. He doesn't look like he's too thin or anything like that. He's got his, the crazy hair going on, but like he looks really healthy, I think. Voice is on point. He has a lot of good like vocals throughout this show. So yeah, it doesn't get too crazy as far as like rarities or anything like that. But, pork roll, egg, and cheese as an opener. So that's nice. It's not the most rare of opening songs, but it's definitely not the most common either.
It's nice because it's a throwback,
Yeah, right. Get some fucking pod going. One of the few songs that they would jam from the pod, at least back in those days. Right? You mentioned Albino Sunburn Girl. That's definitely the time period for that to start coming out and making a lot of appearances. You had mentioned, I think, there's a really sick version of Buckingham Green.
Yeah, dude. No, that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say like they're rocking out the standards. Like,
yeah.
Dude, they play that a million times. They've already played that like hundreds of times. And they just bring like a thunderous energy to it. Like,
yeah, man.
Mickey, it's one of the great like solos,
Mm-hmm.
I was reflecting on that as listening to it. It was just like, that's one of the great Ween solos, one of the great Mickey solos on that guitar.
Fucking A, dude.
For Buckingham Green. And that leads right into Captain, which is one of the highlights of the show.
Yeah, I'd say that Captain is pretty much like the first like major standout of this show. Yeah. I think it's about 8 minutes long and just a nice long jam. fucking Captain, which is it the second most rare of this night that's played. So it's really, I mean, I'd say it's definitely uncommon.
I think it's the most.
Is it the
It's the
most
rarest
rare?
song of the night, 61.
61
Yeah.
times total.
Yep.
So that's pretty rare, really, when you
Rarest
stop
tune
and
of the
think
night.
about it. I mean, it's kind of surprising even, I had to look and see if, maybe this is only like the second or third time played, but I think it's like the 25th or so.
It's played a good amount in 2003 because Quebec comes out.
Right.
But you really just, it ends up being just a few times a year after this.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like between 2003, yeah, that is played a lot in 2003, but that, that makes total sense. 2003 and 2004, it's played a lot. And then you're absolutely right. It looks like twice in 2006, a handful of times in 2000. I'm sorry. There's twice in 2005, a handful of times in 2006 and 2007,
Just
and
sprinkling it in.
yeah, after that, it's like, yeah, maybe once, twice a year.
So it's pretty sweet when you
Yeah.
think of it.
Right.
Like they were playing that in their prime. That's a
Yeah.
great version.
So that's pretty rare, and yeah, this is a sick rendition of it.
One that I really liked was Stroker Ace, in particular Mickey's solo in that, his guitar play, and how it leads into Reggaejunkiejew and Dr. Rock. Then this is like a little rock block going on, shredding it.
Well, now
You know?
don't skip over the Jew. All right, because
No.
Reggae
I'm
Jew.
not. I'm just yeah, dude. Reggaejunkiejew is fantastic.
Reggaejunkiejew is broken out on this fucking show, and there's a little bit of a gap there because the last time they had played that was at the end of October for 2003. So it doesn't sound like that much, but considering all of the shows that are played in 2003, that's a nice little gap there. And Reggaejunkiejew to me is more, it takes me back to like when they first started breaking that out live, so like 99,
Yeah, dude.
420,
Oh
so
my
this,
god, dude. No,
yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, 420 and then Buffalo. Oh,
yeah,
Buffalo 99.
right. So this
The
is,
Tralfamador.
right. This is 4 years later. You know what I mean? So, they're still getting they're still breaking out the Reggaejunkiejew. So this is a sweet rendition. It's not quite as long. You know what I mean? It's not the full on jam from, like 420 or the Tralf, but it's still a really sick jam right in the middle of the show. It's not something where it's like the encore, the beginning of the encore, or anything like that. So it's not quite the full length.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on. I mean, it's one of the best live songs in my. I don't know how. It's not exactly the best like jam out or like best like guitar solo or anything like that. But like Reggaejunkiejew, come on, it's the fucking
it's
shit,
great.
dude. Do I dare say
the bass?
Yeah. Do I dare say it's the best live song from Pure Guava? It's up there.
Maybe. Well, it's notable. Can't put my finger on it. Doesn't have the opener. It doesn't have any of the chant like opening.
Yeah, true. And right before that, Touch My Tutor. Again, that's a little, that's a little token at this point, But I would say that this is still the era when that's broken out a lot. And that's not really something that kind of, I'd say that's like kind of lost its way for a little bit there. And then kind of like came back in like the reunion era.
Yeah.
So that's a sick jam too. But yeah, I can't put my finger on it. There's really no like intro to it.
Well, it seems like they're making a lot of conscious choices to keep some songs a little bit short,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
And the show itself is a little short, 2 hours and 15 or so, and
Right.
then
Right.
and this was on a Wednesday,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that
It's
kind of makes
true.
sense.
Yeah. And it's like, get some more songs in there. Just kind of, pack them in. Zoloft is a pretty sick rendition of Zoloft. It's again a little token for that time period. But then the next big standout for this show, I would say, is Marble Tulip Juicy Tree.
Oh yeah, dude. Marble Tulip Juicy Tree.
Now we're getting into some fucking sick shit, right?
We're in the Browns in town.
I mean, not only is it amazing, we're talking old school shit, okay? But during the Jeaner improv part and his sort of like spoken word speech section of the song, he gets Up on the Hill in there. We're gonna have to play a clip of that fucking shit.
Yeah, dude.
Look now at the world in my hand, no time. We'll see flying with trance of time. You, yes, I know. Up on the hill, round by the river, my old son, my world,
Okay.
Classic.
So it's like Marble Tulip, Up on the Hill, into his like spoken word part. Okay. The what you think is the ends, where they have sort of like the echoing, like roar, 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 which I fucking love. I love that shit. And then they announce the raffle winner. So and like Jeaner seems to be like in on it. He's just like raffle time, right? So this guy, the guy comes up and he has a thing. So I think I wrote down, it's $490. So somebody took home $490 from what I'm assuming was a 50-50 ticket, and then they raised that same amount as another part of their proceeds that went towards Relay for Life. So, I mean, hey, right there you go, right? It's $500.
That's cool, man.
So the man does take his sweet old time though. He's just like, okay, like 6, 6, 3, 7, 8, 2,
I know. I actually got to that point and I was getting a little impatient. I was like, what the hell is this? I'm just going to fast forward.
So, I mean, they could have waited another like what is it, like 10, 15 minutes and then like just done it during like the encore break.
He had to come out. The guy was ready.
Just like, no, this is when the raffle is going to go down. Because if you look at the set list, they play what? 3 more songs and then it's the encore break. But, I mean, they do want to make sure that everyone's still there. So that's, and they probably said, I don't know, 10 o'clock or whatever. We'll do the raffle. So that's cool though. So it's, and again, it's a little bit of like an old fashioned thing for raising money. Not something that you would expect at a fucking Ween show, but yeah, somebody went home that night with almost $500.
Dude,
So
everyone's a winner, though.
I would have.
Everyone's a winner.
Yeah, I would have taken it if I had 50-50 tickets and I won. Fuck yeah. So
That's great.
So another good standout after that, before the end of the initial set, is Tender Situation.
Oh man, this is my favorite track of the show. This is the best. This is great.
Tender
It's
Situation
like so jammed out.
It's always
the
nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's always nice. Slow things down, and like, yeah, there's always a lot of good Diener, you know. Well, both of them taking some sweet, guitar breaks on Tender Situation.
And I love the poetry of the lyrics, and the guitar is just iconic.
Yeah.
It's such a cool song. Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's right before the Blarney Stone, which winds up being the last song of the regular set, that Diener does some thank yous, basically says a special shout out to Glenn and his wife Tracy for putting this show together.
Thanks, guys. We're Ween. Yeah. Hey, we'd like to thank everybody, all you for coming out. Everybody from the Eagles Hall. Everybody who helped out, especially our keyboard player, Glenn McClellan, and his wife, Tracy. They helped put this thing together tonight. A lot of other people, so give them a hand, man. Thanks again. This is for you. This is for you, Glenn.
So that's pretty cool. Again, I don't have like I don't have the story of exactly like how this went down, but that's what that's what Diener says. So we'll take his word for it. So
it's cool. Like they had some kind of connection with the Fraternal Order of Eagles.
Yeah.
Saw this opportunity. They needed a band and they wanted to raise some money.
Yeah, man.
Or vice versa.
Just like, I've never met Tracy, Glenn's wife, but, she was probably just like, oh, hey, my husband's in a band, like we'll get them to play a show and raise some money, like she's probably just like a member of the Relay for Life. And, that's great, so that's cool. So then they do the Blarney Stone.
Maybe Glenn is a member of the Fraternal Order of Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, even better.
Is that? Oh man. For every mystery solved is another mystery revealed.
Is that from one of those new Star Wars movies?
I don't think so. If it is, it's by coincidence. I haven't seen any of those. I don't have Disney Plus.
I know it's not from the original Star Wars. I'll tell you that much right now. And then, unfortunately, the encore is a little bit token. You got the Mollusk, you got Piss Up a Rope, Freedom of 76, and then You Fucked Up. But and one of the things I forgot to mention before Tender Situation, when they're doing Marble Tulip Juicy Tree, after they do the raffle, they do a little like reprise.
Yes.
Into, because after he's done with the raffle, I guess they feel like they have to play something like as if they're just gonna do like ba-da-da-da-da. But since they were just doing Marble Tulip Juicy Tree, they just do like 5 seconds of that, of just like
Yeah.
the ending of that again, and it's like, okay, so it puts like a little like cap on it, like boom, all right, done.
It's great. Yeah, the encore is it's sort of a little ridiculous as an encore because it is just sort of like, okay, we'll just give you 4 like just sort of mid set list songs.
Yeah,
And it's almost like they did Freedom in '76 and that goes out. They were like that goes out. They mentioned someone's name or something. They said I thought they said something about it when they put Freedom '76 on. But then it's just like, oh, we'll just throw in a quick short little "You fucked up" to end it all.
right,
It's funny. It's like, look, at that point, the encore, yeah, sure, I guess throw another 2 minutes on there.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well,
it's kind of interesting that, yeah, anyway.
you're not always going to get something that's going to like, go off the rails or be like a crazy long jam, or, it would have been nice, but
Well, I thought Tender Situation fit that bill, but that was
yeah,
not, and obviously not as the finale
yeah,
because then it had Blarney Stone.
right. It would have
But
been cool if they would have just, done Tender Situation at the end, and then maybe You Fucked Up, as like,
well,
one of the encore songs, because it's long anyway.
you do see how this doesn't like, yeah, the encore, it doesn't have what you might think of as a standard encore.
Right, right, right. There's nothing that's like 10, 20 minutes long,
Yeah.
you know. Well, again, there's nothing in this show that really gets too far out there. But I would say that they're definitely on point at this time.
Yeah, dude.
It's not like they're so ragged from 2003 and it's the beginning of 2004. There's a nice long break. So they have some good time off before this little
Yeah,
batch
dude.
of shows.
Dude, I put it to you earlier as this is like a great snapshot of classic Ween live. Like this is like a classic era, and like you said, they're fresh off a break. Um, they're getting some shows in. They're playing well. I mean, the music's great, and there's not a lot of shows in 2004 ultimately.
Right.
So to have this cool little venue and have this cool show to start it all off and get something like this in. Like you mentioned earlier, how it's like a warm up show, and that's not necessarily something that happens anymore or whatever.
Right.
And it's kind of
Right.
like you'd still have these. This is still like a really cool, like unique moment of Ween history.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just another show.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I would say by 2004, those things are starting to get to be a little bit more on the rare side. Although it was this year, now I'm skipping ahead, but it was this year where they traveled to Alaska. But yeah, that's sort of like the biggest takeaway from this one is, it's a small venue. I mean, you could see that by either looking at the photos or watching the video, that it's just like a little tiny stage that they're on. That's just like built into that wall. The one other memory that I do have is going home, and I remember that K-Dog drove, and he just had that ridiculous like what was it, like a Firebird or just like that stupid muscle car that he had. Just like
pretend muscle car.
you could barely even fit like the driver, let alone like any passengers in it. Just like, why would anybody want to drive one of those cars? But anyway,
oh man.
But we were on our way home, and I think we stopped at like a 7-Eleven or a convenience store, like 10-15 minutes away, and there was someone who was obviously just came from that show and was just there probably like minutes before, because we pull in and there was one of those shirts that we bought just laying in the parking lot, like right in. So somebody must have like gotten out of the car and their shirt just like fell out on the ground. And we're just we're like, free shirt, so, pick that one up. I'll have to ask K-Dog if he still has that, or if we gave it to him, because I don't remember.
I'd say that's unlikely.
Yeah. I think I still have mine packed up packed away, but I definitely have
amazing.
pictures of it. And I have, like I said, I have pictures that I took that night. If I didn't say that, I'm telling you now that I have.
Well, get them up online, man. Let's
Yeah,
get them
yeah,
out to the
yeah.
people.
Yeah, we'll definitely put some pictures that I took. They were some hot shit at the time because they were from my digital camera, which I don't know, 2.3 megapixels or whatever
You
the
probably
fuck.
still have that camera somewhere, don't you?
Oh, I have ones like it. I know that. I don't think I have, that specific one, but I know I have one or two of them floating around still.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any way of getting the pictures off of them anymore, but I know I still have at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and the other thing that I want to throw in there is I checked in with Fred again about the beer, and he basically said that like everybody was just getting wasted and that you could just tap your own drink. So there's a few different photos that he says are like classic photos that he remembers from that time of people just like passed out right next to the keg. And it's like, hey, it's cool. That's what we're here to do, right? Raise some money and have a few beers and then a few more, so
In Levittown.
I don't I hope nobody got arrested or anything. I don't remember a big police presence or anything like that. They were probably like, it's for charity. Like, let them go. So,
Let them be. We'll get him out of here. We'll get him home.
yeah.
Let the guy be.
So anyway, into the podcast for a new year, 2004. We're officially into 20 years ago. And
well, a little behind 20 years, but
20 years and a few months. So we're at least catching up with 20 years in.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about 2004. We got a few great shows on the horizon, great experiences and wild adventures.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we got a few stories coming up for 2004. We don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, some great shows. Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
I was just thinking about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we hope that you've listened to this over your Thanksgiving holiday, and we have a couple of surprises up our sleeve for the end of the year. So stay with us, okay? But have a great holiday season. You're going to make it through. And we love you. If you need to talk, we're always here.
Yes. Just as a side, Gardein makes a great vegan like Thanksgiving roast.
Ooh.
So, throwing that out there. But anyway, peace be with everyone. Have a great holiday, and thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody.